Yeah, that little explosion at the end. How the fuck is it here? I mean, it would have to have drifted specifically in the direction of Titan over the 5 months it took to overhaul the Yamato. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Space Battleship Yamato. I apologize if I seem a little bit odd these days. As I indicated in the very first episode, I'm recording these offline by myself, very specifically because I've started taking the chemo medicine to deal with the cancer stuff, and I feel like the effects that it has on me affects my cognition a little bit, which makes me fail on some of the words that I'm trying to say more than usual. And in doing so, I feel like I overcompensate hard in the other direction, and I come across as a little bit more odd. So again, I apologize that these aren't like my normal reactions, but doing what I can. Committed to the content, as it were, because I don't know if I talk about this a lot. And this is gonna be a weird little segue at the beginning of the episode because I guess mostly I don't have a lot to talk about from the previous episode. Um, I get a lot of enjoyment out of watching the anime, recording my feelings about it, discussing it, and then responding to the comment section and everything as it comes by. Um, Whenever I'm feeling bad and I have like a recording day to do, the more I do it, the better I start feeling again. I mean, to a certain point, obviously, that's the adrenaline of doing something you enjoy. At a certain point, I start to burn out once again, and it hits it hits a lot harder. But I appreciate um, that I can share this with you guys. So if you're one of the random people who follows the channel who decided to watch me react to Space Battleship Yamato, and encountered this weird little message at the beginning of the 6th episode, just know that I appreciate you guys a lot, and it really helps me get through all of this to have any sort of audience at all that I can share this time with. So, thank you uh, for enjoying me. I don't know. I don't know if this is going a weird way. Either way, to the show stuff. Last episode, we almost crashed into Jupiter, found an island the size of Australia with some sort of weird biosphere on it. Also was an enemy base, and we destroyed it completely. And now I don't know where we go from here. I'm hoping that this is going to be like, the first 3 episodes we deal with the setup, the premise, and then Yamato takes off. Well, I'm hoping from here this is set up and premise towards we have this much time to get to Iskander, and this is going to be the takeoff, as it were, to crossing I forget what it was called, the distance outside of the galactic plane towards getting towards Iskander, to put some time in on the travel. God forbid that we go 360 more days without getting anywhere, and then in one day we get there. So yeah, that's my hope. I have literally no idea. Space Battleship Yamato is not a show. Sorry, the OG 1974 version of Space Battleship Yamato is not one that has a next time on. So literally, I have no idea what's coming every next episode. So nothing left to do here, but I guess to get on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Space destroyer Yukikaze rests on a field of ice. Yukikaze was Oda? I forgot his name. Sorry. Dude's brother. Kodai. Sorry, Kodai. What's his name? I believe that was his ship, because thankfully, when I was making the board, I had put down that this guy was a captain, and it's like, captain of what? Well, captain of that ship. So, rests on a field of ice would have to mean Pluto? I mean, granted, there are other planets in the solar system that could have ice on them, but I'm hoping for progression, right? And if there is progression, then I have to assume that we're going to get to the Pluto base and fucking deal with it, right? So, rests on a field of ice. Also, it was the Battle of Pluto, right? So, that would be the closest planet. I believe it was also in the background of the shots. So, I guess that would mean, despite the fact that we saw it literally surrounded by a halo of enemy ships and being bombarded on all sides, that it survived that and floated into Pluto? This really feels like a reverse SDF Macross in that they go to Pluto's orbit and have to get back to Earth. And now we start at Earth and we're going to Pluto.
2199年、地球は謎の星ガミラスから攻撃を受け、優勢爆弾による放射能汚染によって人類絶滅まであと1年と迫っていた。この放射能を除去する装置は
I mean, I'll be honest though, the most mysterious thing about Gallius is the fact that it is a twin planet to Iskander. How both of those could be side by side with one another, but as I indicated, New Genesis and Apocalypse are side by side in DC Comics.
今までにあんな威力のある大砲を見たことがありません。急いで対策を立てませんと。やがてヤマトは我々の強敵になることは目に見えております。
But you feel like a giant. Unless he is a giant, in which case we are just some sort of the thing that SDF Macross may have copied.
今に見ているレスラー相当をいただくガミラスがどんなに恐ろしい相手か覚え知らせてやる。
テスラ相当閣下のお言葉を伝える。相当は勝利の報告しか聞きたくないとのことだ。分かったな。
いつ副総統。
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to be so confident and such a dick writer for your president to be then shit on by his second in command. So why do you have a anchor? You lost gravity?
控室委員長さん。
Again? Cosmonite, of course. Cosmo Radar, Cosmonite. Literally, they had to land on that floating island on Jupiter because those pipes overheated before. Yeah, did you like not talk to anybody on the way up to the bridge? I mean, you could just go really fast and then turn the engines off. You will literally drift at the same speed you were going. Or I guess, you know, you could just have thrusters instead of just one main engine. Pivot your way towards Titan.
この美しく珍しい形の星は太陽系惑星の中では木星に次ぐ大きさを持つ。直径11万 5000km は地球の約9倍で。
Okay, maybe I was wrong about Pluto. Maybe we're just gonna visit every planet on the way to Pluto. Oh, luckily it's methane again.
ゆっくりと土星の周りを回っている。土星には9個の月がある。
Who said that? No one said that. You're making that up. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong planet. The Titan I'm thinking of is supposed to be like an ice sheet covering maybe an underground ocean.
タイタン付近で止まっている。ガン分析データを。
エネルギー極度に微弱。
何？エネルギー極度に微弱。
故障かもしれません。直ちに我が艦隊を繰り出して。
待て、油断するな。
No, do that. Literally, I just talked about last episode. Where's the fleet?
よし、2班に分ける。森とアナライザーは古代の護衛でコスモナイトの調査分析任務。
Cool, send Mori with the thing that's been literally sexual harassing her the entire time.
タイタンよりの資材物資の調達。はい。だがよく聞け。今船は非常に不調である。したがってヤマトがここに停泊している理由を敵に知られてはならん。行動は迅速に、状況判断を誤るな。以上。はい。よーし、競争だ、古代。いいとも。
Be cautious. Okay, let's have a race. What I say? What did I fucking say? It's more fucking sexual harassment.
探索艇および運搬船発進。
タイタンって何をする気だやつら。
探らせましょう。タイタン付近のガミラスパトロール。タイタン付近のガミラスパトロール。
Didn't Schultz here say I'll succeed no matter what the risk? And he's like, let's send in the fleet. And he's like, wait, not so hasty.
タイタンに数艇の小型船を発進させた模様。その目的を探れ。以上。了解。
The logic of some of these people in this show does not make any goddamn sense. I mean, it's a nuclear wasteland versus a ice wasteland.
Shima, Aihara, 周囲に気を配れ。敵はいつ現れるかわからんぞ。はっ。
Buzzsaw is ready. It's a reference I don't know if anyone's going to get beyond a certain. Well, the solar system is just filled with life. I guess in Titan's case, former life. I would be worried, though, that would poison the water if you're going to use that as a resource. There's some weird biomes in the water you're going to melt.
全作業員に注意。森、真田、各班に告げる。現在 UFO 確認。作業を急げ。厳重注意の上、作業を急げ。よし、作業を終えて各運搬船は直ちに大和に帰る。
Well, I guess they won the race, though. That is a very familiar design. Don't defend him. He's the jerk-ass machine that won't keep his hands off of you. Don't defend Analyzer.
反応がありました。左35度、
距離3マイル。そうか。よし、行くぞ。
でも古代君、帰還命令が。
こちら古代コスモナイト発見。直ちに採掘に向かう。以上。古代さん、直ちに帰還してください。
I mean, to be fair, the ship fucking needs it.
古代さん。
So,
古代さんは通信を聞きました。
it seems like the ship ain't gonna be able to do very much without it. So, acceptable risk.
これです。
これがコスモナイト。
Once again, though, neck fully exposed to space. I feel like I'm gonna be pointing this out every episode.
アナライザ、早くね。
あなたのためなら。
Maybe this is another thing that Lex copied, because Lex has the robot head that's in love with the sex slave. What do you think? The Galileans have been mining this place too? Even their spacesuits are fully exposed from the neck.
コスモナイトを取っていた。何？コスモナイト。そうか。コスモナイトはエネルギー伝導管に使う宇宙合金だ。
Put two and two together.
ヤマトは故障を起こしてたな。
Low energy readings.
最初阻止しろ。ところで人数は何人だ？男が1名、女が1名、それにロボット1体です。それはいい。敵を知る上でいいサンプルになる。捕虜にしろ。
That would be like SDF Macross. It was a capture episode right around, what, 9, I want to say?
正体不明の車が近づきつつあります。何？宇宙戦車だ。
Well, there goes all the cosmonaut you collected.
方角は
Also, I think you could just call them tanks.
逃げろ。あの岩陰だ。 死なない程度に傷つけるんだ。だから言ったじゃないですか。早く帰ればよかった。うるさい。お前は森君を守ってろ。
But also keep your hands off of her.
バカめ。コスモガンなどでこの宇宙戦車が相手になると思っている。
The fact that you've killed everybody that you've come across probably means that there's no way they're going to try and let you capture them alive.
お前はあの岩陰の男を狙え。こっちはあの女とロボットをやる。
Reusing the same shot over and over. Literally, your mouth was completely open to space. Like, I think these guys' helmets are actually just open to space, too. It's just a face mask and then a... Could have used that tank to beat the other tank. Oddly though, these tanks better than any Xeon tank in Gundam. Refer back to my previous comment about thinking that Analyzer is actually a alien plant. Oh, okay. They actually do speak an alien language. Surprised they didn't just shoot him. I guess the element that you need the translator, or otherwise they don't know what you're saying. Sorry, it's also heavily pollen season here, so if you keep seeing me go like this to my nose, that's why. I mean, this guy sucks. Sucked, past tense. I mean, the element that he jumped in the air for so long, and this guy only got one shot out. Like, so they survived the fight? And landed here? And were mining the Cosmite? But I guess just didn't survive long enough? I mean, if his gun was found outside the ship, I have to assume his body is also outside the ship. I mean, it implies, though, they did retreat. Because they went from Pluto to Titan. I guess that also implies I was real hasty in marking him down as dead. Yeah, that little explosion at the end. How the fuck is this here? I mean, it would have to have drifted specifically in the direction of Titan over the 5 months it took to overhaul the Yamato. One of them space mysteries. That's actually pretty scary. It's not like awe-inspiring. If I saw that floating out of the darkness, I'm like, oh my god! I mean, granted, after you come back from rescuing everybody on Earth, come back here and then investigate this. This is definitely something to come back to. Because granted, it's no longer a mystery that's time-based.
全艇収納完了しました。コスモナイトによるエネルギー伝導管の補修終わりました。島、船を立て直してみろ。はい。
I mean, that was a really good setup, though. For that being the payoff, because again, I thought it was just them, the Galicians or whatever we're calling them, were mining it.
見事だ、島。いや、真田さんのおかげですよ。いや、森君たちのおかげさ。いや、私のおかげです。ヤマトを軌道に戻せ、全速前進。はい。古代が戻ったら艦長室へ呼べ。
Again, it's like Nemo from Nadia. Chair just goes wherever he needs it to.
おお、どうだ、怪我はないか？コスモナイト。ありがとうな。
古代君が守ってくれたおかげで取れたのよ。
じゃが古代、艦長が呼んでおる。
古代、命令無視のことかもしれないぞ。あ、わかった。行ってくる。 古代進む、入ります。報告をしろ、雪風の。はい。タイタンに不時着したと思われる地球防衛軍日本艦隊駆逐艦雪風に生存者はなく。
Seems like there were. I mean, there aren't now, but it seems like there were then.
生存者はなくか。古代。はい。地球を雪風のようにはしたくないな。はい。
I'm guessing his son served on that ship, which is another reason why he wanted the Kodai brother to come back with.
土星を出発した。地球を立ってすでに5日が過ぎていた。地球に待つ人類はガミラスの放射能によって刻々と蝕まれつつある。
Gamma list, I've been putting the L and the M in the wrong places.
人類絶滅の日まではあと359日しかない。人類絶滅の日まではあと359日しかない。
Yeah, no, I mean, that was a pretty good twist. Obviously, I think that implies that there were survivors at the crash. Because maybe I misunderstood. That I thought he said there was like cut marks. No notes this time? Okay, I guess. Nope. And next Mushi production, Yasuke Yakishio joined as storyboard drawer. He worked on 13 episodes of the first TV series. The destroyer Akiguchi was sunk at Pluto but found on Saturn, which is 5.4 million kilometers away. The Akiguchi must have been seized by Gamulus, and the ship must have been left on Titan. That makes sense. Gamulus Scout Commander speaks Gamulus in front of Kodai. It reads Circle, Triangle, X in reverse. It was made up in the recording studio. Didn't realize that. The voice of Schultz in this episode was done by Kazo Kato. I mean, it's funny about the language. See, that was the thing I was thinking. It's like, okay, 5 months have passed as per a previous notes thing, but I included that in my timeline notes and not specifically in my notes section. 5 months from the Battle of Pluto to Yamato having its engines redone, thanks to the message sent by Iskander. And I didn't put like stuff together in my head about whatever the distance is between Pluto and Titan, Saturn. Although I do know if you look at the distances between the planets of the solar system, the distance, say, between Mars and Earth is not that big as compared to the planets in the outer solar system, like, say, between Uranus and Saturn. Like, it's massive. They get not infinitesimally. They just get massively bigger, the distance between the planets. So between Pluto and Saturn, I guess I just didn't think about how fast that ship must have been drifting to have drifted from Pluto to Titan. So the editor's note about it's probably more likely that Gamulus took the ship and just dropped it off on Titan makes a lot more sense. So that would mean that the gun being found outside the ship would just be a matter of the Gambless people rooting through the ship's remains to try and find more clues or whatnot about the people or our technology or whatever they would be doing. And less likely what I was talking about of survivors that survived the crash, but then having nothing left to repair the ship with. So I guess it does go more towards my thing, because it means that the Gambless people did bring the ship to Titan, that they would have been harvesting Cosmite there on Titan already. So I guess I think the indication from the editing team is that I am more right than wrong to my first half theories, not my second half theories. Still, though, I think it's something to come back to after we solve all of Earth's problems, assuming that we don't, find new problems that are going to take up all of our time after we get to Iskander, you know? Otherwise, I think this also goes back to what I was talking about in my notes about, Shara? Was her name Shara? The Iskander, sister of the Queen that found dead on Mars. The element that they weren't super concerned of the fact she didn't have any protective coating on her, and the element that their spacesuits seem to just be helmets with face masks that go up and down and a chin strap. Otherwise, their necks and their hands are just fully exposed to the environment. That apparently space in this sci-fi world is just breathable space. I wouldn't be surprised now, seeing all this, that they just got sucked out into space and were waiting for someone to save me, you know? It just feels odd that, I mean, granted, one of you can hit me up in the comments and tell me how I'm wrong, or there's probably an element of, what is the thing? They try to explain it in Star Wars, too. The fact that nobody in Star Wars wears a spacesuit when they're in their fighter things or whatever. That when they eject into space, they're probably in an air bubble or something. I don't know. If the show doesn't explain it, then I have no explanation for it. The same thing that came up in the episode 3 editor's note, which was that people explain the Yamato was having some sort of air bubble around it to explain how the captain is able to stand in the wave motion gun and not be exposed to the radiation outside the ship. If they don't say it, I'm not going to make up new technology, right? I almost would have thought that the Gameless ships had shields by the way that our energy weapons hit their ships and just kind of dissipated. But then they fired back on ours, and it almost had the same effect, except a second shot later, it pierces the ship. And it's okay, no, that's just the energy weapons hitting the armor. And we're doing that sort of thing, which I guess you would do in a show like Yamato, because I know this comes up with the Bismarck, and Bismarck is just the battleship that comes to my head. Literally just today before I was watching these episodes, I read a Who Would Win article, Bismarck versus the Yamato, and it's hands down the Yamato, because the Yamato has bigger guns that can shoot further and way more armor than the Bismarck had. But the Bismarck is listed having a I can't remember what it's called. It's not an invincibility zone. Basically, a zone of armor on its hull that contemporary ships in the Atlantic wouldn't be able to penetrate with the gun size that they'd be firing. That would not matter whatsoever if it fought the Yamato, because the Yamato's guns were so much larger anyway, as to completely dismiss that as a thing. Anyway, the idea that both of these ships had that similar quality would be to indicate that the Gamulus ships' armor would be of the same nature, that our weaponry is not high enough level to penetrate their hulls. So I assume that's what's going on. So my point being was that you could explain, oh, they have shields or something. When no, it's probably much more Occam's razor explanation, which is they just got thicker hulls, which is probably why missiles still work on them and our ships. Anyway, I guess I'm just gonna have to get over the element that space doesn't work the way space does in this show. I know if Lessons was watching this, he'd have a problem with the fact that space is blue. You know, I know he brought this up during one of the shows. I can't remember. I think it was Macross 7, maybe, the element that space was like purple for some reason and not like black, like it was in SDF Macross. I figured he would have a problem with space being blue for some reason. What else? Was there anything else? I guess, yeah, another element of the, maybe not sexism. I guess it could be a form of sexism. The sexual harassment. Either A, have her fall in love with the robot, so is it just a thing between lovers or something? It'd be weird, but at least we'd get rid of the sexual harassment aspect and just like, they're a couple or something. Or 2, stop fucking doing it. That would be a thing. If we could choose one of these 2 things, that'd be great. Otherwise, no, this was like maybe 3rd best episode so far. Because again, I really like the payoff that there was with Kodai encountering his brother's ship, even if there wasn't like any payoff of like they survived and they tried to survive for a bit and we get like a flashback of them at post crash or something, and as it turns out, maybe it was Gamlis just took the ship here. But even then, in the captain's quarters, where he's like, "Any survivors?" and he gives a little tear, and maybe it's implied that his son was on that ship, which gives different weight to thinking back to the episode where he's trying to get the other guy to come back with him. That there might have been ulterior motive to not just sacrificing his life or buying them time, but trying to get his son away too. So, yeah, I really enjoy that this episode gives other episodes better weight too. That said, though, I think that's probably it for this episode. So, once again, I thank you all for joining. I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?